Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome. We're going to be getting back into some JJK today, episode 5 of season 3, picking back off after that peak and a half. Episode 4, dude. Maki, the new Toji, she is freaking insane, bro. Shout out to some of y'all called out or kind of pointed out some of the references in this episode or from the last episode to Kill Bill, a Tarantino movie, right? I've actually never seen it, although I am a big fan of Tarantino. I feel like I've seen some scenes from it, but I did look up the scene, and what a really cool reference indeed. Maybe I need to go watch some Kill Bill now. But I also heard that there was some like controversy with the episode, like people in Japan didn't rate it near as high as kind of the West. So I'm not sure if that was because like the stylistic choices or maybe some of those references. Who knows, man? But I personally really loved the style of the last episode. It's very unique. I thought some really interesting choices from the production team and the animation team. So I don't know. I could watch Maki punch Naoya in the face like on repeat, man. That was great. But yeah, y'all, I'm not sure where we're gonna go from here. Maybe we'll catch up with some of the other kind of, side plots, or like, how everyone was kind of gonna do their own thing. Yuta was gonna go into the calling games. I kind of want to see Yuta get in the mix there. I just want to see more Yuta in general. I love Yuta, man. But yeah, y'all, let's go and get in this. If you enjoy it, drop a like for me, comment, subscribe, all the good YouTube shit. Or if you want uncut access, check out the Patreon, the link below. Appreciate y'all support, and let's go ahead and watch some JJK together.
人工的な樹害は他の双術より自力だが動力である磁力は術師から与えられたものをあれの磁力はあれのもので自己補完も無期限拘束を正式に下す。Bruh.
Yeah, this guy got screwed, man.
貴様がもしあれを意図的に作ったのに軍隊を所持できるわけだからの答えろ。
Dude, the Sorcerer Society, like all the higher ups are all freaking babies, dude. They're all driven through fear only.
みんな心配してるよ。元気がない。だから僕言ってやったんだ。元気がなければ元気づければいい。そうか。天才出る？
そうだな。
たける。
すまないがしばらく帰り、皆にもそう伝えてくる。長い出張だ。大丈夫。この森は天元様が守ってくれている。会いに来てくれる。
Your mother?
まさみち。
Oh, it's such a tiny little door.
ないと寂しいぜ。
いいのか草壁。
お前が捕まってんのは矢賀さんを誘い出すためだ。あの人には恩があんだよ。
Freaking panda, dude.
本当にいいんだな。こいつはお前の甥ではない。甥の情報を持った何かだ。
いつまでも死人にこだわってじゃ未来を生きていけません。妹はもうタケルが支えてくれなきゃ生きていけんのです。
あの人僕のお母さん。
よくわかったな。
そうじゃないかと思ったぜ。天才だろ。
So there's like son's like spirit in that.
悪いか。
分かってます。完全自立型の樹害の存在、一緒には暮らせない。
すまん。
ありがとうございます。本当に。
樹害も釣らずどこへ行くのですか。いや
息子に会い。
死罪となったあなたが唯一助かる方法を教えましょう。完全自立型人工樹害、その製造方法を明かせ。
Of course, that's what they want to know.
バトルがいなくなった途端に強い。
A lot of people have, dude. Showing their true colors. Oh my god. This guy's one of the worst of all of them. He was like the principal of the other, like, Jujutsu school, right? He's been wanting to kill, Yuji this whole time. Fuck you guys.
魂の情報を複数その情報を樹害それだけではダメなんだの3つの魂を宿した核を1つの樹害の魂を常に観測させるんですよ。安定して自我が芽生える3ヶ月を過ぎたあたりです。なぜ今さら話した
Yeah, now he's on his death door.
なぜもっと早くなぜ生き延びなんだ
It's not as shallow as you.
学官自覚中私からあなたへ呪いですまさみちで戦わんわしが憎くないのパンダはそんなもんにとらわれにとっちゃあんたは落ちてるこれだけは覚えておパンダだって泣くんだ
Man, well, that was a sad intro to this episode, man. It's kind of interesting learning more about that. Like that was like one of the first like curse techniques we saw when Yuji was joining the school, right? Like the principal was testing him with the curse dolls and everything. And obviously Panda's unique in himself.
係金次は今栃木県の立体駐車場跡地で掛け試合の胴元をして金を掛け試合術師同士の殴り合いだそれって客は基本的には非術師だな
Got our own fight club.
掛け試合の参加者の中には呪詛師もいるだろうで着替えんの
さんは上と揉めて定額食らったんだ術規定も現在進行形で破ってる高専関係者ってバレたら逃げられるかもしれない警察と泥棒みたいなもんだから無礼だな
Yeah, for real. I don't know. He might like them. They're kind of opposed to the whole system a bit, especially the way the system's acting these days. The higher ups taking advantage of Gojo leaving or being locked away. This guy's about to get it, isn't he? Bro, this is literally a reference to Fight Club.
殺したから一月くらい前だ手だけのクズがいた一月前近藤が消えたその穴を埋めてそこまでだボスからお許しが出たシード枠にそいつは出るのはそっちだ好都合シードは虎杖の方が敵
He's got the good hand to hand.
ボスがてめえは食えない嫌ならこの話はなしだ
Dude, Megumi's playing them like a fiddle, dude. Yeah, he's got some good bluffs. Good poker face.
も参加してるなそれなりにファンカメラで俺たちを見てたって高確率ではかり先輩はあそこにいる虎杖は内側から探りを入れてくれその間にあの駐車場に潜入する俺は多分泳がされてる潜入がバレた時点で信用をなくしはかりさんと接触その時はもう力ずくだそれは本当の最終手段あくまではかりさんに協力を今後の関係に響く事態は極力の回遊への先制期限時間は無駄にしたくない10日の17時期限まで9日かけてくるの思ったより時間かけちゃったからもう今晩潜入してはかりさんやばそうならすぐ引く
ルールは2つ逃げるな術式は
これは別に使ってもらっていい
はほとんど非術師見えないが勝負をされても盛り上がらん
Yeah, that's fair.
逃げるなの方は
見える範囲で戦えってこと
どこまでも客だな
Consumer's always right, man.
ボスってどんな人
会えばわかるさ
会えんの
試合には2種類のトーナメントのようなガチンコと八百長だ
Fixed.
もちろんうまくアピールできたら声がかかるかも
派手に暴れりゃいいわけだ話が簡単になってきた
Bro, Yushi's looking rough these days with all those scars on him. Poor guy.
お前の対戦相手俺も初めて見た時はぶったまげたよ
わけだ
Oh, it's Panda. Why is Panda here, bro? John Bobby. Huge! Announcer MVP, bro. Duda.
試されてなんぼだろ勝ちが見えてる影をつパンダに勝てる骨太なんてそういねえから
でもないみたい
あ
パンダ先輩ははかり先輩に会えた
いや知った中だから警戒はされてないがあとはもう一人の3年の術式が問題でな
Damn.
隠してるんだろあとはわかるな
こいつは確実に俺の実況人生ベストバウトだろうね
He's only been one for 2 weeks. The jump. It's better acting than WWE, man. Itadori.
なんてバッチだ
演技下手
Dude, his voice actor sounds familiar.
後で警備にキララも出すにざわつくのは元カノがリボ払いしまくってた時以来だ
元カノの話
虎杖とはかりは接触
パンダ先輩は
場所は分かってんだけど
預けない
ドアに近づいても距離が直としてはサトルの術式と近い気が多分キララの術式なのか
Is that the
一
girl?
人の3年って男でしたキララさんがモニタールームにいる時だけに起こる現象ですか
客寄せパンダに消してた
A circus
よかった
panda.
よ二人が来てくれて虎杖の根役で人たらしな性格ははかりとあいつ嘘下手だろ
食って発想が出にくいということです
つうわけでおっそり制圧二人が話す時間を稼ぐべきだと資格は把握してる
見張りの人数は
屋上以外の各フロアに
いけますね 懸念事項はキララさんの術式ですね。
もうそれは仕方ない。
ちゃんまだ高一なんだ。若いね。
ゆうちゃん。
金ちゃんは中学ダブってるんだよ。
なんか
金ちゃんが大好きなの。
Dude, is this Zoro's voice actor?
月収100万円にって言われて死んだ。そのあることを知るには20万の情報商材を買わなきゃ。
これは信じらんないな。
そう。お前が金持ちを装って金持ちのなり方を売り、金を手に入れに考えればわかることだが騙される方ほどいる。すべて熱のせいさ。
熱
Hope of easy money.
騙される側も持っている。熱に浮かされて人は判断を誤る。
Passion and love are a double-edged sword, man.
ギャンブル。
やっぱりお前は分かったんだ。保険をして俺の本を間違えて大きく晴れなをしない人間なんていない。賭け事ではなく敗北と反
できるだけ穏やかに暮らしたい人もいる。
知らないね。俺は熱を
Everyone's got some kind of passion in them.
ギャンブルは人生。俺はゆくゆくファイトクラブでこの国の熱を支配。公表され総幹部もろくに機能していない今が事業拡大。呪術規定の改定に乗じてファイトクラブの存在を公に認め、優秀な駒がいる。に浮かされている。
Want to get high on my passion? Just say
相
no.
談が。
虎杖、何か飲むか。
じゃあ適当に酒以外で。
気にするタイプには見えねえな。知ってるか、五条悟も稽古なんだ。
五条って誰？持って。俺は別に。
Phone just keeps
五条
going.
悟を知らない術師がいるかよ。なんで知らないふりして高専の回しもんか。
聞いて。
キララからのテルバンでの着信はな、表示体の合図なんだ。やだね。冷めちまってるからな。
My passion's gone cold now. Ah, man, I wanted to see more, dude. I really love that the way they produced that last scene, just like a still frame, or I guess the perspectives static or the same, and just seeing them kind of like moving, going back and forth. Like there's so many like micro movements with the animation too. Like it's so much more fluid. I thought that was really interestingly produced, man. But definitely more of a informational episode. I feel like I need to remind myself a bit more on Panda. I remember how it works with his like being alive from the curse technique and everything. They explain it a little bit more, but I need to remind myself on like the principles, power, and stuff too. Yeah, I don't know, y'all. That was a really interesting episode. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get in the review section here. Yeah, interesting episode, especially kind of coming from the last episode with all the action. This one's a little bit more slower paced, and honestly, kind of like a tale of two episodes, like almost two, I don't know, different feels in the episode, right? The episodes kind of has some juxtaposition with the beginning of Yaga and his death to Yuji and Megumi going after Hikari here with the Fight Club. You know, the Fight Club was pretty silly in itself, man. I really like the cultural reference to Fight Club, first rule, don't talk about Fight Club. That was really good. They're definitely throwing in a lot of references in this season, although I feel like that's been a thing in JJK in general. Like they've always had a lot of cultural references in the show or the manga as well. So, but yeah, I kind of liked the dichotomy there with how the kind of the tone of the sadness and I don't know, like the emotionality of Yaga's death with Panda to the second half being a lot more tonally comedic and lighthearted. Let's go ahead and do the character names. We'll talk a little bit more as we go. So for MVP, I'm going to give it to Yaga. Kind of a shout out to him. Probably his, last moment we'll see, and maybe we'll get flashbacks to him, but I liked seeing his last kind of stand there, right? Not really, telling the Jujutsu hierarchy here, kind of the conservatives, how he has created this sentient corpse and Panda to survive, right? They kind of offer that to him as a bargaining tool to help him, to let him live, is to just for him to tell him, but he doesn't accept that. He lets himself die to a degree, I guess. I don't know if he lets himself, but accepts death and then tells them on his own terms. He says it's a curse. He's kind of passing off a curse to the other principal. But I think it's a little bit more about how Panda comes in and shows his emotionality, his like how human he really is. him crying there, and not the hatred towards the other principal, the bald one, I forgot his name, but more so it's about the sadness he experiences from the principal dying. And I thought it was interesting too, seeing some of the other cursed puppets that were like from people who have passed. Like we saw that one that was that lady's son who's kind of gone, I guess maybe a little mentally crazy or something. So I don't know, just interesting seeing Yaga. It is sad like that, you know, we kind of did get quite a bit of him throughout season 1 and season 1 in the movie especially. So it is sad seeing his death here, but I think it's a really interesting way that he kind of lets the information out, and then Panda kind of honoring that through showing just how much humanity's within Panda itself, or the sentient puppet itself. Is it really a puppet at that point, or is it its own human, own being? For the best moment, I'm gonna give that to Yuji and the conversation with Hikari. I really liked the fight with Panda, and I almost gave it to that, but I don't know, there was something about the production of that scene and the conversation between Yuji and Hikari that was like really interesting in the subject matter about passion, but also just the way they produced it. You know, like I said at the end of the episode, kind of the static perspective and just seeing them kind of go back and forth, and like, you know, it was a little tense with the tone too. You could tell that there was, you know, misdirection going on there, but I really enjoyed the whole conversation about passion though, and how, you know, passion and what drives people in life, and really life is all about passion and gambling, right? We gamble with our decision making to make it in this world, and it's not that people hate the gamble itself, they hate when they lose. So life rewards people who do gamble. If they gamble enough, you got to take risk, right? You got to be able to accept risk to go explore something new for yourself, or try to invent something, or make your mark on the world. But you have to know when to fold too. You have to know if your passion's directed in the right way, or if your passion's too risky, you know? So I thought that whole little narrative was kind of interesting, and I think it does apply to life a lot. Even the beginning conversation around like, what if I told you could make 10 million yen in one day, or, you know, in an hour or something? All you have to do is pay me $200,000 yen, and I'll tell you this information. And, you know, him calling that out as like a common scheme, you know, someone would swindle someone for that. Reminds me so much of YouTube courses, you know, not that every YouTube course is a scam, of course, but there's so many like, you know, financial independence kind of like schemes out there where people are just trying to sell you a course on how to sell stuff on Amazon or do this or that. And in reality, the person who's selling the course, they're really making money just by selling the course itself, not by doing what they're teaching. I mean, maybe they had some experience with it, but I often have found that a lot of that's pretty surface. You know, there's not really a lot of depth to their knowledge as they're claiming to have. It's a lot more about the credibility that they display, that they have, you know, proof that they have sold X amount, and that's why you should trust them and learn from them. But meanwhile, you're just giving them all of your income, and they're making it through their course rather than what they're teaching. Like, why wouldn't they just do what they're teaching then, right? Definitely reminding me a lot of that. Maybe I've fallen for one of those scams at some point in my life. For the funniest character, I'm gonna give it to John Bobby, the announcer. He was freaking hilarious, man. The way he was just hyping up Panda and Itadori, him introducing them, but especially when he's like, "This is the best fight I've ever seen, although I've only been an announcer for 2 weeks." And then for the Sacco, we'll give it to the bald old principal, the conservative man. Dude, it's just, you know, it's interesting that Panda didn't blame him. I liked how he described it as like, you're just the knife that fell upon Yaga. So, you know, he didn't really ever have ill will towards Yaga, it seems, but he is one of the influences of that kind of conservative old Jujutsu group who's unwilling to change their perspective to the times. And honestly, like I said in the reaction, just they seem so fear driven, you know, making decisions so much more out of fear than like empowering the people around them, which is usually not a good place for your leadership to be in. You know, you're just kind of controlling and lacking humanity, unlike Panda here, who we see has some more humanity than probably even these conservatives do at this point. So pretty ironic that a puppet has more humanity than these conservatives do. So, but yeah, y'all, I'm interested in how the rest of this confrontation with Hikari will go. I do really like Hikari's like demeanor so far. I think it's Zoro's voice actor, so I might be a little biased there. You all know I love One Piece. But yeah, his demeanor just seems really interesting. We saw a little bit of some power, like the little screen going through Yuji. I don't know what the hell that was. So really interested to see what his power's like. And if Yuta's correct that he's like stronger than him, he must be pretty insane. But yeah, Yuji does seem like a good person to get through to him, because Yuji also has quite a bit of passion within him too. So maybe he'll reignite Hikari's passion now that it's gone cold. But yeah, y'all, let me know what y'all thought about this one. Let me know if I missed any details, or, you know, especially with Yaga's power and everything. You know, I've looked up a little bit to try to remind myself, but let me know if I'm missing any context. Like, I honestly don't remember this puppet that was like the son of that lady. I don't know if that was just something in this episode or if I'm missing anything, so remind me if I am. But I appreciate y'all joining me today. Hope y'all enjoyed this reaction and review, and I'll catch you for the next episode. Peace.